Fallow's Journal, 8th of Winter. Morning came dull and grey. We were low on coin, so we helped in the town where we could, lifting, mending, listening. Ishi, tasked with finding out more about these strange ongoings, chased a lead through Mosley's alleys, but lost the trail. The task failed. Didn't look good for us finding out about these strange icicle paintings. Later, while sat at the inn, Apollo, spotting the scout cloak, exclaimed that he found a note sewn into it. Activity northeast. Watching still. We'll report soon. We packed light and headed out. What we found were fields, nothing more. No camp, no signs, just empty lands and the cold wind stirring questions we couldn't answer. Fallow's Journal, 10th of Winter. Woke up stiff as iron, left out in rain. Back shot, knees are worse. And there's some bloody insect that's had a feast on me neck. God, I'm getting too old for these rough nights. Grumbled loud enough to wake up half the camp. Not that it mattered. Most of them were already stirring. Ishi was at the edge of the rise, watching the wind move through empty fields like it might shift something into view. Anta was brewing that god-awful root tea again. Tastes like boiled bark, but it gets the blood moving. Me? I sat up slow, cursed the cold, and tried to remember a time when it didn't sound like a sack of rusted hinges getting to me feet. No matter how sharp your blade or how many stories you've stacked behind your name. And out here, no warm taverns, no soft beds, just frost-bitten mornings and the promise of more walking. You feel every bloody year. Still, if the trail hadn't run cold, I'd have been quicker on my feet. With nothing but wind and wasted effort behind us, we decided to make use of the day. Ishi and Apollo set off to hunt, confident as lords. I didn't have the heart to tell them the land looked picked clean, and sure enough, when they came back with nothing but cold fingers and complaints about shadow dancing hares, still kept them busy, and the walk would have done them good. Me, I stayed back and took on a different task. Ben, that lad, Antha's shadow really. Been serving her so long, he probably finishes her thoughts before she speaks. Carries a pack, brews her teas, sits by the fire like a pup waiting for a pat. Don't think she minds. She's got a way about her, makes people feel seen even when she's staring through them. But the boy's soft, no edge to him, and he's walking with us into the wild. I'll get him killed. So I handed him a stick, told him it were a sword. He looked at me like I'd grown horns, but to his credit, he took it. We ran drills. Footing, balance, keeping his guard up. Natural, but there's art in him, and that counts for more than most know. By the end he was sweating and sore. I told him that was good, means he's got something to build on. 11th of Winter. We broke camp at dawn. No sign, no trail, no answers. Just frost on the tents and silence in the northeast fields. We turned back. The road to Mosley felt longer than it had on the way out. Funny how that works. Hope shortens miles, but disappointment stretches them. Ishi walked ahead, quiet as ever, still chewing on what he'd seen, or hadn't. Apollo kept pace behind him, bow slung low, boots dragging a little more than usual. I think he felt the weight of coming back empty-handed. Antha moved slow, humming to herself like the cold couldn't touch her. Ben trailed behind, stick still tucked into his belt like it meant something. Maybe it did. And me? I just walked, watched the sky shift above the trees, felt the ache in my legs, and wondered who that scout had been. I knew they were trying to warn. We came back to Mosley as we'd left it, smoke in the chimneys, guard on the gate, but I swear the wind had changed, like the town was holding its breath. Something's still wrong here, and we're not done. Of Winter. Didn't take long after we got back for Oberon to come calling. Met us near the south wall. Eyes darker than usual, voice low like he didn't want the wind to overhear. Said there'd been chatter. One of the old houses on the edge of town, boarded up, forgotten by most. It'd seen movement, lights, shapes. A neighbour heard something in the night, not voices, something heavier. Animal maybe, or worse. He didn't say it outright, but we could hear it in his tone. He wanted us to go, and so we did. By the time we reached it, the place was empty. Whoever had been there was long gone. Dust still hung in the air like the walls had only just breathed out. No sign of struggle, no bodies, just that eerie quiet that tells you something's moved too fast, too clean. We searched room by room, hoping for a trace, and in the back, beneath the cracked window, we found it. A torn scrap of paper, left behind in the haste. One word stood out amongst the scrawl: beast. and below it, west of Mosley. No names, no context, just that. Whatever this is, it's not over. Looks like we're heading west next. 13th of Hind Winter. We didn't wait. Didn't see the point. Whoever was in that house had vanished, but they'd left enough of a trail to follow, and after all we'd seen, none of us fancied sitting on our hands while something worse stared in the west. A beast, the note had said. Could mean anything, so prepare for the worst. Still, we packed what we had and made ready. We left Mossley behind again, boots heavy, hearts heavier, heading west, towards fields that turned to thickets and thickets that turned to woods, towards whatever waits in the dark, growling, hiding, maybe watching even now. If it's a lair we're walking towards, then I am to make sure we're the first ones who walk out of it. First day was quiet, too quiet. No birds, no chatter in the trees, just wind, dragging cold fingers through tall grass, like the land itself was holding its breath. We made camp on a low rise, gave us a decent view. The ground wasn't too wet, fire was low, supper worse, and we were all a little too tired to talk too much. That's when we saw it. A glow, faint and steady, but far off, just above the horizon. Not fire, not torchlight, something else. Pale, greenish, like moonlight caught in fog, but too low and too still to be the sky's doing. I marked its direction, northwest, maybe a day and a half off the road. 14th of Hind Winter. We found it. Tucked in a gully west of the old woods, half hidden beneath the roots of a dead tree that must have fallen decades ago. The kind of place you wouldn't look at twice unless you knew what you were looking for. I did. First a stink, like meat gone wrong, clinging to the air even in the open. Then the prints, wide, deep, like a dragging gate, toes splayed like a man's but heavier, much heavier. Apollo thought it might be a troll. I shook my head. Seen enough of these brutes in the war. This weren't troll work. It was an ogre. Gods, I hadn't tracked one of those since the Red Hollow campaign, and even then it nearly took me bloody arm off. Big, brutal, clever in the worst ways, kind that keeps trophies and sleeps with one eye open. The lair itself was crude but lived in. Bones scattered at the entrance, animals and otherwise, some cracked open, hollowed out for marrow. It had been feeding here, and often. No sign of the creature itself, either it was out hunting or watching. I told the others to keep low, stay sharp, whatever lives here, it's not going to welcome visitors. The lair stank of bones and old blood. Apollo went in first, creeping past the spiked barricades, his eyes sharp. We held back, waiting. We found the ogre's tent empty, but the signs were clear. It lived here. A bubbling cauldron, still warm, bones scattered where it had feasted. Then the mistake, a boot against a rib, the sharp crack echoing. The roar that followed shook the ground. The beast was home. We charged in. Balin loosed the first bolt, missed, curse him. The ogre came on, bellowing. I went in head on, Ishi and Ben at my side, while Hantha whispered a magic from behind. Steel clashed, spells flared, and the fight turned ugly fast. The ogre hit harder than anything I'd faced in years. He bowled through us, sending Ishi sprawling, breaking Ben's weapon, bruising me to near useless. Even so, we kept on pressing. Hantha's guidance gave me strength, but when I swung, the beast battered me back and left me sprawled, arm gone near dead. Ishi went down first, a blow to the chest, limp body ragdolling to the floor. Then Ben, brave lad that he is, his hammer swinging but catching nothing but air. The ogre wasn't so unskilled. Its huge rough iron sword slamming into Ben, sprawled and flying he at the deck. For a moment it felt like the lair itself would be our grave. I was next, flat of the ogre's blade, slamming into my skull. The world went dark, not for the first time, but you wonder whether it's the last. My hazy eyes opened to the fight ongoing, with only Apollo left standing at the ogre's feet. Balin found his mark at last, a bolt thudding home deep into its pectoral. Anthus weaving high on the winds, Apollo glows, burning his blood and stealing his resolve. Cloaks swirling in the wind, he moves like an Altair dancer, driving his blade deep. The ogre reeled, roared its head at last, and fell. Victory, hard won and costly. When the dust settled, I could barely stand, my arms bruised and spraised. I'll be no use in a fight for a while. Ben's weapon is ruined. Ish's armour cracked and bent, but we still live, and that's worth something. We searched the lair before leaving, found a bastard sword, a few coins, a fair steel breastplate, and some basic supplies for crafting. Small spoils maybe, but hard-earned. The fight of the Lair will be remembered, not for glory, but for survival. A reminder of the weak hold we have on life. And in times like those, survival's enough.